So you double retired? Really?
Can you feel the tension in the air right now? I know I can. I can feel it all the way down in my plums, getting all swollen, with a light blue hue to them, fresh and juicy, ready for the picking. All the school children are lining up to put them in the sack lunches. Hey, that plum looks good. Can I trade it for your Twinkie? No, these are my plums. I want to bite into that plum and let the juice spill down my chin. You know what I mean? All the while, everyone's saying, I want the juice to spill down. Okay. If I recall correctly, my plums, beautiful bluish hue, the sun just dancing right off of them, just nice. Getting ready to take them to market. I can feel it down in my plums. I can feel it down in my plums. They're getting a nice bluish hue. Getting ready to take them to the farmer's market. Special 2 plums for 1. I can feel it down in my plums. I can feel the tension in the air. And I told my wife, Beverly, when I was on top of her.
What? Don't, motherfucker, don't laugh.
When I was on top of her, making intense, painful love. Consider it done, okay? And listen to me. I'm gonna be real honest with you right now. This moment came to me in a dream. About a month ago, I was making love. My wife, Donna, on top of her, thrusting away. A sultry, hot evening. All the windows closed. The heat turned up to about 82, so it gets sweaty and hot. My hips thrusting down on Donna, her trying to get away, because she does not like it. When I hear a sound, a rap at the door, my young son Gabriel walks in. My wife says, no, Gabriel, leave. I say, no, let the boy watch. Let the boy watch. He needs to learn the way I learned from my father. The way he learned from his father.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to the BFC. I was searching on the YouTube, looking up clips of Eastbound and Down, and I'm like, we got to open up the show with some bloopers from Eastbound and Down. Great show if you haven't seen it. I mean, you got to have some comedy. You got to laugh a little bit. That's just the truth. But welcome back to the BFC, where we go into the trenches of the trading world. This is our last show forever until Thanksgiving. So just relax. You know, we're winding down the year, we're winding down Q4. So we still are going to be covering a lot, but yeah, we may have another show before Thanksgiving. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how things, with all the recent developments in the news, we'll see how things come into play. So we have some great updates, and there's a lot happening in general on some of the stocks that we've been covering for a long time. And I got to say, guys, smash the like button. A lot of times we have hundreds of people watching. Make sure you smash the like button, share the content, and subscribe if you haven't already. Put your questions and comments in the chat. Let's get this party started, guys. Who is with me tonight? I want to see who is with me tonight. Oh, look, we have Major Gaines is here. Welcome, Major Gaines. That's sort of funny. I'll laugh to that. Yes, he demands at least 2,500 more episodes. Well, Gary, he's not demanding, but just saying. So it is not so. We're not stopping. This has been the year of the BFC. As I said, it is the year of the BFC, and we're going to keep doing what we do, due diligence from the source. And Arlex says he ain't quitting until 50, 500 million or whatever. Oh, we got, hey, guess what? Stephanie, I'm not stopping. Welcome to the show. GSNLA, good friend. Jesus Hernandez, welcome. The Big BS is here. Man, it's great to see you guys. Lisa Matthews, the one and only Lisa Matthews, T7L. Rodney, he's always busting my chops on the old Twitter. It's good to have you, Rodney. Michael Singleton, great to have you here at 215 swings. A lot of you guys. And Anthony DeVideo. We got Jordan Huggabad backstage. And we got some great guests today, guys. Very exciting stuff. And Wayward, yeah, I hope you guys are having fun, Wayward. Good stuff. Good stuff. So welcome back, guys. So check this out. You know my unhealthy love of chicken wings, and that I've tried sauces from everywhere. I've made my own sauces. I love my wings fried, grilled, even smoked. But I gotta say, my buddy, his name's Jake. He's a real SOB. Well, he brought me some sauce to try, and he was raving about it. And I gotta say, all right, I want to try some of it. So he brought some, and it's one of the best I've tried. One of the best I've tried. And we got the man behind the sauce, and I'm going to be giving some away because it's so damn good. And I'm going to say I had some on some wings Saturday, and just phenomenal. Not Saturday, Friday. I lied. Friday was Friday. But before I bring in our first guest, I want you to hit me up at bfccontest@gmail.com, bfccontest@gmail, and the first couple people that type in chicken wings and email me the word chicken wing sauce or chicken wings, you will get some hot sauce sent to you guys, some wing sauce. All right, let's get this thing started. Let's kick this off with a brand new guest, owner and creator of RJ's Gourmet Buffalo Wing Sauce, Rich Pato. Let's bring him in. Hey, Rich, welcome to the BFC. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. So yes, you are the owner of RJ's Gourmet Buffalo Wing Sauce, and I gotta ask you, what inspired you to create your own chicken? And what the hell's a guy from Rochester meddling around over here trying to get things going with Buffalo Wing Sauce? Tell me what's going on. What's the story behind the sauce? What makes this unique compared to others in the market?
Well, let me try. Like I said, I don't want to be too long-winded with everything, but from Rochester is only 60 miles away, so. We've been big buffalo wing people here in Rochester. I'm 61 years old, and I've been eating it since they were developed. So I was a big buffalo wing fanatic, and a long time ago, I'm going to say about 34 years ago, I just decided to try to make it at home during my first marriage, and didn't come up with exactly what you're eating now, but probably about 90%. Just, did the real deal, obviously the real butter, which we'll talk about why mine is different because it has real butter, red hot. And then, just some things, whatever you want to put in it, obviously garlic powder, onion powder, and then my couple unique things that I put in there, which we'll talk about after. And then just started making it, and, people coming over, parties and that. I used to have in my garage back in the day with the original DirecTV and all that stuff, before you had all these big TVs and streaming and everything. I had the old school setup. I had 6 TVs in my garage, and I'd have guys over every Sunday to watch 6 different, fans of teams and everything, even Bills fans, and, have them come over and we would do wings and stuff like that. So the sauce became pretty popular around here, and people come and ask me to make it for them by the gallon. I just, say, pay me what it costs for the ingredients, and go from there. And my son, RJ, who I named the sauce after, when he was a little boy, he used to always say, Dad, we should give it to other people. Now, RJ was born with autism. So, he was very loving and caring. If you know anything about autistic children, they're just kind of that way. And, I used to always tell him, when I retire, I never thought that day would come. And for me, that day came in May of 2019. Very fortunate to be able to retire financially at 56 years old. And the next day, autistic kids do not forget anything, man. Dad, you said we'd do it, so let's do it. So we went and did it.
Wow. So I know, share the story of your first batch. Like once you decided to go on with this venture and actually do it, what was it like creating? Now, did you create the first batch with your son?
Are you talking about the ones that we put out on the market?
Yeah. So
no,
the one that you started.
No, RJ. Well, that's all me. That's the whole process. Let me tell you. But it's called a dial-in. So I went out to this place that I got hooked up with here, and the place is actually in Bergen, which is in between Buffalo and Rochester. And I went out there and did the dial-in. And they tell you, come in, you have to have a breakdown of a 1 gallon. So, when I made this sauce, I was all done by eye. I never measured anything. Who the hell knew? I did know that I was using 3.5 pounds of butter per gallon. So anyhow, I did that breakdown. We go out there. So they did it. They wanted to do a 30-gallon run because, not only we're going to make it, they're going to put it in the bottles, and it's got to get sent out to Cornell University to get okayed and all that process. But I went out there by myself, and what ended up happening, they just started. When I got there, they had I want to say, what did they have? Probably about, what did he say? He said we got about 72 pounds of butter already melted.
Wow.
And I said, stop, don't do any more. Let's start playing. So we started pouring in the red hot, and so now everyone's going to know one of the killer ingredients in my sauce that no one else has is Merlot. So according to my recipe, you're supposed to put like a gallon plus of Merlot into the sauce, based upon the recipe. But, and we did all that. But as we started going, I just started looking at it and just started putting everything in. Now, if you go into these things, this thing, it's got the thing spinning the whole time. So the stuff's moving around, you're watching it. And I just watched it develop and look for a color, adding everything till we got to the point. And I'm like, because I didn't want to make any more. I'm like, let's pull some out. Let's taste it. And the other cool thing with my sauce is the only thing that's cooked is the butter. Once the butter's done being melted, you shut the heat off and we just pour everything in and mix it up. So
is it safe to say that butter is, and guys, I'll be honest with you. I've tried a bunch of sauce. I'm sure many people have. I know I've done the wings with Jordan, Arlex, and Wayward. A lot of these companies, especially up here in Buffalo, you'd be shocked. They use liquid margarine, and you could tell, some of them are better than others. But
like I told you,
yeah,
freaking Anchor Bar and Duff's, two of the biggest names. They use canola oil. Look, read their bottle.
Yep.
So,
is it safe to say that butter's your signature ingredient?
No, it's a key ingredient because we're the only one in the country in a bottle that uses real butter in the amounts that we use. So back to the thing, that was the end result. It ended up leaving us with about 23 gallons of sauce with the 72 pounds of butter. So that's where we stopped, because what we did, we got it all there, and I'm like, it's perfect. Don't add any more, don't do any more, even though they're like, we wanted to make 30 gallons, but no, okay. So they were, once I was happy, they were happy, but I said, listen, there's no way we can put this in the bottles or do anything until my wife tasted. Now, my wife was working in downtown Rochester. She worked for Frontier Communications, and I said, and I'm way out in Bergen, so we're about 30 miles away. I'm like, put in a couple bottles and bring them. I got to go bring it to her and let her and all the girls at work taste it, because they have to give me the sign of approval. Because like I said, when I initially made it 30 something years ago, with my new wife, which she's not new, it's been a long time now, but I told you that was my first marriage. My second marriage, Jennifer, was the one who kind of got it to where everyone loves it now. And frankly, it was because she made it a little sweeter with the brown sugar that's in it. So I had to drive all the way back into Rochester, and those guys, they were a little upset with me because they're like, well, we want to get this bottle and get done. We got to get on with our day. And I'm like, you got to wait. Because if she says it's not right, we got to do more. You know what I mean? So,
well, especially if somebody raves about your sauce, if you have a group of people around you that like love your sauce,
right,
like you need to go big with this. You need to get this in every store. You're not going to make that sauce and not let them try it. You got to be like, all right, is this good? Does this
all the
pass the
girls
test?
at work, all her girls and
that
friends
was it.
at work, because one of the things we've done with this sauce prior to putting it in the bottle is I've won some contests, and my wife has won a few different contests with her buffalo chicken wing dip. And the reason ours is so unique is because instead of using Red Hot, where the recipe calls for Red Hot, you use RJ sauce. And so all the people at work, they all had to give their approval. They did anyway. So that's the end of that story. I called them up. I said, go ahead, start bottling it. But then what we ended up having to do when it came back from Cornell, Cornell said you can't use this batch. I'm like, what? Because the alcohol content was too high. Because we don't cook the alcohol out of the wine originally. Well, you wanted a funny story. Here's a funny story. So they said you have to use only this much wine if you're not going to cook the alcohol out. We don't. So we had to lower their Merlot content in there. He said, because if you want to go with what you've put in and what you've given us, we have to classify this as an alcoholic beverage. So it doesn't have as much in it as it was. And obviously we went and we made another batch of it. That one there we put in bottles, and I just gave it away to people. And that's the story. And
it's funny
with it.
You know, you could, like, I don't know, make a double wine batch and just serve it, and it could be the tailgate version.
Well, what I do is if I make it at home, and I still have some friends who come to me and go, I don't want the bottled RJs. I want the one off your stove because it has all the wine in it.
Yeah.
And it does give it a little different flavor. And people really like that. But, I usually tell there's a few people that want it. Now I'll do it if I'm not busy, but I'm like, just eat, pour more wine in it yourself, put it on the stove, heat it up. I'm not going to bother. I'm too busy messing around with this stuff. So I'm not going to make any more with more wine, but that's how it all came about. Never know it was ever going to turn into this big thing that it did.
Well, could I ask you, like, is it better? I mean, okay, it's a wing sauce, but what else? Is it versatile? Is it good for other dishes? What have you had it with? That's really,
what's the bottle say, Eric? It says great on everything.
I know it does. Actually, here's the bottle right here, guys. Actually,
yep,
this is their original.
That's the original.
I tapped into their hot last time, and I'll tell you, my gosh, it was so good. Yeah, I'm getting hungry right now. I'm getting hungry.
So
I could pop some wings.
You can put it on anything. The stuff, if you go on our Facebook and Instagram, you can see pictures and videos that people have done, and none of them ones that are on there are from Rochester, New York, or Buffalo, or Syracuse. They're all from all over the country, and people do crazy things with it. But what I tell people is, pizza, hamburgers, hot dogs, Italian sausage, anything you cook off your grill. I call our sauce the ultimate buffalo finishing sauce. You can put it on anything. Like Red Hot says, I put that shit on everything. Well, you can put RJs on everything, and it tastes better than Red Hot. And people do. They do everything with it. My son's favorite thing is to put it on macaroni and cheese. It's fantastic. So yes, it's not, the genesis of it is a chicken wing thing, but you can do anything you want with it. I have a woman, I have a restaurant in Minnesota who buys it by the case, and even if they got to deal with the bottles, they don't like it, but he uses it. He puts it in, like I do at home, puts it in squirt bottles, like ketchup squirt bottles, keeps it room temperature. Yeah. And people put it on their, uses it for breakfast and things, and people put it all over their eggs and their omelets, and he cooks an omelet with it. I have a woman that gets it 4 or 5 bottles, 6 bottles she buys all the time, she tells me, and she keeps it just in her cupboard so it's a little thick and pours it in the thing, and her kids use it for chip dip. So yeah, so you can do anything you want with it. It's like you can testify because you've had it. It's flavor. It's just so much going on when you put it in your mouth. It's all good. It's not bad, and it's not over the top hot. The originals, I call it baby back heat, and then that's why we developed the hot. People wanted it hotter, and that's got a bigger back heat. But neither one of them are too hot. It's all flavor.
And I gotta say, with this one, and like the thing is this, guys, when you get your bottle of hot sauce, I will tell you, like, yes, it doesn't pour out, like, and that's why I was asking Rich. I'm like, what about a different bottle? I know a lot goes into like the branding and everything for this, so you just nuke it, you just heat it up. You can literally soak this in warm water and it gets it going. But like that's because there's so much butter. It's real ingredients,
Right?
Oh, it's good. It's good stuff. But this stuff, I could definitely see myself putting this on an omelet, or
Yep.
you know, I haven't done that yet with it. I've just done wings.
Well, you know, people use Tabasco. I put sometimes I used to put Red Hot. Sometimes I put the Sriracha on my eggs. Sometimes I put RJ's on my eggs. I mean, you can do anything you want if you like that little different flavor. You know, I mean, and RJ's falls into that category. Again, it's really good on pizza. I do not eat pizza without squirting some RJ's over the top of it. Let it melt down over the top of your pizza.
You know what I would do with this? I thought of this. I do like hot peppers on steak hoagies. We could talk about steak hoagies another time, but I would totally put some of this on a steak hoagie. The hot one, totally 100%.
Again, so, try it on anything, you know, and see what you think. But once again, I tell people for the very first time, you know, get yourself an order of crispy wings, plain, put it over, shake them up just like they do at the restaurant, and have at it, because that's the genesis of it. And the one thing you'll notice with RJ's, because of the brown sugar and the butter and everything, it doesn't just turn into that oily mess in the bottom of the pan. It adheres to the wings way better, because brown sugar will crystallize, especially if the wings are warm in the sauce. You know, as long as you don't turn the sauce into a melty bunch of nothing when you pour it over the top. Just get it loose enough to pour it, and then, you know what I mean, so it's thick, and then shake it up over your hot wings.
And guys, let your wings hang for a little bit. If you make your wings, let them hang. Don't put them right off the fryer, right into the. Actually, did the beef tallow wings, which actually they were really good. Good stuff. You know what's weird about the beef tallow though, and this is no joke. The next day I reheated some wings, right?
Yeah.
And they tasted like beef. It's good tallow, but it was you got the beef the first time through, first cook. You didn't get that beef. Second day, I'm like, holy shit, this is I get a lot of beef in this. So what kind of feedback have you gotten from the people, like, other than the family and friends? You just told us a good story, but tell us another story about, like, you know, from wing enthusiasts, and has it influenced new ideas or recipes?
Well, no, I mean, I'm not going to really do anything more with this, because again, this is all for my son RJ. And, you know, I'm waiting for it to actually really start become a profitable business that I can give to him. Then maybe we'll look at making something else. But, you know, the reaction is, it's over the top. We set tasting records. And what I mean by that is, when we go do demos at stores that sell it, or we're at like the summer arts and crafts festivals here in Rochester, New York, and Monroe County, and Syracuse, and all this upstate New York area, when we go do these things, what I mean we set records is we outsell every food vendor. We're there 2 or 3 to 1. We do 85%, because I can track it by when I give a tasting away, how many tastings away I give, and then how many people buy a bottle. 8.5 out of every 10 people that taste our sauce buy a bottle right there.
Wow.
And I have a lot of friends in the business now, especially with pasta sauces and that, obviously upstate New York, you know, that's a big thing around here, who say, you know, and they're way bigger than I am. They're huge. They got sauces all over the place. My buddy Paulie Guglielmo is huge. He owns a cannery now. You know, you can go get his sauce at Wegmans. And Paulie has said to me, Rich, I have never hit that mark at huge festivals with 100,000 people at them. I have never, with my sauce, it's a pasta sauce, had that I could say 8.5 to 9 out of 10 people that will buy a bottle after they have a taste of it. So it's crazy. People go bananas for it when they taste it. And I can honestly say, over the thousands upon thousands of people that have tasted my sauce at store demos or at these festivals, I might have had 10. I swear to you on my son, wow. 10 say they didn't like it.
Wow. Now, you would think that at this point, you would be doing Chicken Wing Fest in Buffalo. And you and I had a conversation about the Chicken Wing Fest. And, you know, I went there before. I went there once. I live literally 5 minutes away from the stadium. Yeah. And so you didn't get a chance to do that. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, because that story blew my mind.
I didn't get a chance to do it. I was told, now this is years ago. It's been 3 years now. 3 years ago, I want to say 3 years. I was told I'm a professional. They wouldn't let me in because my product is in a bottle I'm a professional. So you consider my product a professional product. It's, the festival's more for local Buffalonian people, bars and that, not for people like me who the bottles, on sale at the grocery shelf, which I thought was BS, but it's not my festival, so I couldn't argue with them. They wouldn't let me get in it. And, I found out, part of the story I told you, I'm not going to get into all that, but, it's a lot of, like everything else, it's a lot of politics, a lot of bull BS that goes on with that festival. And I would still tell them today, maybe they'll hear this and get mad. Let me in, let me get my sauce, in the contest, because I will guarantee you. Well, I'm not going to say I'll guarantee, because Buffalonians, we talked about how weird Buffalonians are. Not all the Buffalonians are a fan of my sauce, because they just want the traditional, freaking liquid margarine and Red Hot. They don't like that my sauce has a little sweet to it and has the wine and has some unique stuff that really make it flavorful.
We live in a bubble.
I guarantee I'll finish in the top three. But they wouldn't let me in it because of that. And after I found out more and more about it, I didn't bother with them again. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Well, it's weird because like the Chicken Wing Festival, it should be the Chicken Wing Sauce Festival. And the reason why I say that is, we went a couple years back, and all the wings are done all the wings are done the same.
Yeah.
And so you get your wings delivered to your station, and you got to sauce them up. So there's nothing unique about the cooking of the wing. And so I know that there are restaurants out here that cook their wings differently. They have different hang times. They may dry them before they put them in. They may put them in wet. They may put, they may season them. They may do some cornstarch a little bit.
Some use different oils. Yeah.
Some use different oils. So it really is it's more of a gimmicky thing, like the Buffalo Chicken Wing Festival. So I consider like a Buffalo Chicken Wing Sauce Festival, but very interesting stuff.
You are 110%, because I wouldn't mind them doing that, because now it's an even playing field. You know what I mean? But the one thing I don't like, and why I don't do a lot of wing contest things, even here in Rochester, is because the two that I've won were a blind taste test. Nobody knows they were tasting RJs. They didn't know what bars. All they know is I like A compared to B. And that's how it should be. But at that one there, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? At that one there, you got your big names, so you're having Anchor bars, you're having Duffs, so everybody knows what they're tasting before they give their opinion, and now it becomes a friendship contest. So that's why I won't do it. If they put it under the pretenses where no one knows whose wings they're tasting, they just know I like this one compared to that one. I'll put mine up against any buffalo sauce in the world.
I love it. And we're only an hour away, and so we're gonna grab that silly bastard Jake, and we got to meet up and do some wings. And you say you have a really good wing spot up there in Rochester, so we're definitely gonna take you up on it.
Anytime you guys want. The wings and stuff are on me, fellas. Anytime you want, man, come on up here and do it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this, to get my name, get it out there bigger in Buffalo. Let whoever in Buffalo is listening to this go to Clark's in Hamburg, Clark's Poultry and Deli. They carry RJ sauce right there. You can get it. Just don't refrigerate it when you get it. Keep it room temperature always.
Yeah, and I want to finish up with the challenge question. So what has been the biggest challenge, marketing this product and getting your sauce into people's hands? And how are you working to overcome that?
I guess the biggest challenge is we don't have enough time to talk about it, man. What I've learned, like I said, I was a union official. I worked for the city of Rochester. I never did a business like this, is dealing with all these morons at these corporations. I don't want to talk about them, these markets and all these other people and things like that. Again, I'm a 61-year-old man. I kind of think I know pretty successful in my life, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I don't like some 32-year-old store manager talking down to me. So, and again, these aren't at little stores. We're talking the bigger markets. I'm not going to mention the names of them, because it's just like that everywhere. And that's been kind of a challenge, and to get in some of these bigger stores, because they all think they know everything, but they, whatever, they might be successful. They might, but I know, again, my records at demos and tastings, my sauce outsells any other buffalo sauce. If every store that it's in, any buffalo sauce that's standing next to it, and mine's expensive, outsells everyone 3-1. And those are from people who taste it. So that's kind of been the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Well, you always, anytime you want to hop on and share what you got going on at RJ's Gourmet Buffalo Wing Sauce. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Gourmet Buffalo Wing Sauce. My gosh. It's just good. By the way, T7L. Why did the Buffalo Wing get promoted? Because it was saucy and always winging it.
Okay.
You win dad joke of the day, T7. What can I say? So I'm going to give you a one more minute just to talk out to people and tell them, what do you want to leave people with today, sir?
Just again, I appreciate the opportunity. I want you, go try it. Give it a try. I guarantee you'll love it. Again, remember not to refrigerate it because of the real butter. Put it on anything. You'll really, really like it. I really want to get it a little more popular in Buffalo, even though I know some of the Buffalo people do not. Again, they're so traditional. They just want to taste that vinegary red hot flavor. And I can respect that. That's fine. But give my sauce a try. And anyone listening outside of upstate New York, go to RJ Sauces on Facebook, RJ Sauces on Instagram. If you want, you can call a number that's on the Facebook page. Right on the first page, you can see the number there, and you can get it shipped right to your house. You'll really, really like it. And again, the whole thing. Oh, look at the news story about my son. That we forgot to get into that. My son was born with autism. This is a business I'm giving to him. I did all this for him. I don't make a dime off this. It's all for my autistic son. He does it with me, so him and we can do some things together. And that's why I'm hoping it turns out to be really profitable, that he can actually take it and run it on his own.
Hell yeah. That's great. All right. So thank you so much, man. I actually look forward to getting together with you. I'm going to meet up with you in out there in Batavia. And guys, BFC contest at gmail.com. And whoever says Buffalo Wing Sauce and emails me that, I will send you out a bottle of RJ's Gourmet. Seriously. Sir, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Eric, and everyone who's listening. Thank you so much. Give RJ's a try.
All right, get this guy out of here. Get him out of here. Get this guy out of here. Yeah, that was good. Him and I actually, when we first chatted, we talked for about at least an hour and just talking things Buffalo, talking about sauce, talking about the industry. But hey, that was a good half an hour talking about wings. The sauce, guys, is freaking so damn good. It's good. And I'm going to bust into this Friday or Saturday. That's for damn sure. Every weekend, wings. Never gets old. Never gets old. Next up, we have, for a big update, we have the CEO of ticker Sfwj, Medcana, Mr. Gabriel Diaz. Gabe Diaz. Let's bring him in. Gabe, how's it going?
Good.
Where's your video? Where'd you go? There you are.
Eric,
how you doing, man?
Torture, Eric. This first segment was torture. I'm starving. Now I really want to try this sauce. That is amazing.
I'll have to get you a bottle of that. I'm telling you right now, it's good. Like my buddy, he rants and raves all the time about things. Sometimes I just ignore half of what he says. I know he's watching, so I'm busting his balls. But I gotta say, like, it was good. You know, when somebody tells you, "Oh, you gotta try this, it's really good, it's really good," and it's like, then you try, it's like,
he had
it's okay.
And then
this was great.
Butter and then Merlot. Yeah, I'm done. I'm in.
It was so good. Oh man. So things have been cooking for Sfwj. I'm gonna give you free reign. I want you to give us an update. The floor is yours, sir.
Well, thank you. Look, I'm down here in Medellin. I've been down at the finca all last week and this week, and I'm just very excited about what's going on the production side. Very, very excited. I'll give you guys an update. We're at week 6 of the first crop. We've dealt with some little issues with humidity. It is the rainy season here right now. We've got a ton of water. It rains down here. It's 104 inches annually at the farm with the finca where we have the crops. So dealing with humidity was a little bit of an issue. We got past it. Things are going well. Couple of really big things developing. All right. So on the global scale, what's happening is the demand continues to grow for pharma, but it's the pharmaceutical is being demanded for smoking. Okay, the effects are so much better. There's no extracts. There's no processing. So we are going to export buds, flower buds, right? And I'd mentioned that on the last few updates. What's changing is we've determined that we're going to be doing the trimming of these buds ourselves. We've always had the local labor in mind. Initially, we thought we're going to have machines doing it, and that's not going to work. So if anybody knows about this, the hand trimming is absolutely the way to go. So with this crop, we're starting the first class, and it's something that's really nice. I had a meeting there's a cannabis summit last week here in Medellin. I had a meeting with a couple CEOs, and one of the most fulfilling things about being down here is the ability to affect change on the community. Like I've mentioned before, we're not paying average salaries. We're paying 130 to 140% of average salaries, and we're hiring for this trimming portion. Again, I'm sorry to get into it so deep so fast, but I've got my list. But the thing is, we're hiring local women that usually would be unemployed, that are going to be working part-time shifts, that drop their kids off at the school in the village where we're at, and they come over and they work for 4 hours and they trim for us, and then they get on with their days. And this is a huge form. There's a huge impact to the community on the site. So I'm very happy that we're starting that off. We're not only going to be doing that for us, we've determined that there's a tremendous amount of demand locally. And so we're going to be outsourcing these services as well. It becomes another small revenue stream, but it also keeps our labor force busy throughout the crop cycles that we're going to be working. So that to me, that's big. So that crop is sold. It's going to be exported via our partner. I'll talk a little bit more about this relationship we're building with this partner, but it's going to go to Switzerland right now. Possibility of going to the Czech Republic. We're seeing better margins going to Czech Republic. I had a good meeting this morning with them, and we're going to look at that. Let's talk about the bigger ones though, which are the upcoming crops. During this first crop, we're preparing the entire farm for the security protocols that we need to go full THC. The Ministry of Justice sets some very clear parameters on what we have to have for security protocols: video cameras, armed security, fences, barbed wires, all of the lights, all the sirens, everything that we need to be installing in order to make sure that we're compliant. We're working on as we go through this first crop right now. So that's coming down the pike. And along that, it's because we have this humongous demand. The update, we talked about the last time we talked about Australia. Today I'm going to inject Germany. And Germany has come on the field because, like I said, demand is so high that these smaller producers that have 4 or 5 acres are winning the lottery of the tiger. Remember I told you about that last time? You buy a ticket for a tiger and then you win the tiger, and what do? So our genetics partners have won the lottery for the tiger, and they're currently in talks, and now we are in direct talks with these buyers for approximately 300, and that sounds weird, but the purchase amount is 300 kilos per month, which equates to about $400,000 per month in revenue. We're not there yet. We have 18 months to get to the full build out where we can start. It will be there actually a lot sooner, but by combining forces with this company, we will be able to fulfill most of those needs. And as we increase our capacity to produce, this is going to continue to go up. So this one's brand new on the radar. Came up about 2 weeks ago. Very solid, very good opportunity. And like this, I'm bringing one up of about 10 that have come out. These are the ones. This is one that is vetted, that is great, that I'm excited about, that I think is going to be on Twitter a little bit more. You guys are going to be seeing a lot more on Twitter from us. So you're going to be seeing a little bit more news. So this is the first time I talk about this, and it's big news. Let's give you the next update, which is on Australia. I talked about it on the last show, some of the ideas that we had, what we're going to be doing. Now, this is the first time it's rolled out. This is the first release. Eric, you get it because you are one of my favorites. But
good
is
let it rip.
We are signing a joint venture with this company we've been working with, this genetic supplier. to purchase the licenses in Australia. We are moving forward with that, and we will be the majority shareholders of this joint venture. Percentages have been agreed. We are compliant with reporting to make sure we remain public and that this is something that is reportable on our side, and the revenue gets counted accordingly. But we are moving forward with these licenses. This is a humongous development, because what it does, it's a couple of different things. One, it takes the brokers out of the middle, right? Typically in any industry, it's the brokers that make the big chunk. They dictate price. They do anything. We are going direct to the buyers, which in this case are the medical clinics or the doctors. And so this allows us not just to have direct contact with the buyers, but allows us to also be able to source when we don't have capacity in Colombia. We can source from partners. Okay.
Whoa, hold up. Okay, because I was going to ask you, you already have the whole first crop sold. All right. Yeah. That's already allotted for. So now you could tap into other partners to utilize these customers, essentially.
Yep, absolutely. As long as they are working with our genetics, as long as they're working with approved genetics and they have the certifications that we need, we can use other partners. And so this allows us, this is huge news. We become the broker, we become the direct sales person. We also become, one of the biggest challenges is getting, because it's THC and it's highly regulated, the purchase order has to come from a country that is obviously there has to be a legal purchase order from that country, right? In this case, Australia we will be placing the order for us to buy from Australia, so we can control how much we produce without worrying about how much is going to be allocated to us. So anyways, there's a lot more that's going to come out of that. The news doesn't stop there, because there's going to be more things that we're going to do. But tonight, that's what I wanted to release to you guys. Okay.
Wow.
Humongous.
That is humongous.
Yes.
Dude,
yeah.
That's big. That's really big. I might I just say they already renegotiated their convertible debt, if I'm correct. You guys wiped some debt off, didn't you?
Correct. The debt is off the books. We finished that. We didn't report it on this last quarterly because we did all the documentation. We did the class of stock and got that done last quarter when we announced, and then we got the debt all wiped out, and it's going to come out on the next quarterly. But yeah, absolutely. So that's, remember, to new audience that hasn't been here, we have 7 of these cannabis producing companies with licenses to produce, process, and export. Okay. We have an 8th company, and 2 of those companies own the genetic licenses, where we will be developing our own genetics in the future. It's about a year out when we start. Right now, demand is so high. We really want to focus on getting the clients and landing the clients so that we can get that market share. I'll talk about that in a second. But before I continue that, remember the 8th company, Eric, is the infrastructure, technology, greenhouse, and irrigation platform. And that company has gone.
That's big.
Gangbusters.
That's insane. You talked about tell the audience about that, because that is something that, you don't, guys, this isn't just like a marijuana shop down on the corner of your neighborhood. This is going to be a global operation. You're looking literally to capture the Colombian market. And obviously between Germany and Czech and like everything that you're doing, and now what's going on with Australia, and now your partnership, that's going to allow you to expand and produce from other facilities. Holy shit. That's big. But talk about the hydroponics, talk about the stuff. It's great.
Yep. So Echo 2.0 has been an absolute godsend, because what it's also doing, all right, so we are becoming the infrastructure providers for a lot of our competitors, right? There's not that many left in Colombia because of the first wave and the speculation and all that happened with Canadian stock exchange. And there was that first wave that I talked about on our last 2 podcasts that's gone. The ones that are left are the ones that are executing, and they're starting to grow. We have pending orders for 10. I'm sorry, I talk in hectares. A 24-acre project that's coming up that we will be building all the infrastructure for. Another 4-acre project that's coming up that we know that these things are tied down. And so it's number one, they all understand that they're under the MedCanna umbrella. Our CEO communicates with them, and then when they need something on the cannabis space, they ask to talk to me, and that's how. And we've gotten a great network, and there's a lot of things that we're seeing that are helping MedCanna, but are also helping Echo 2.0. But let's get back to Echo 2.0 and what it's doing. Remember, Echo 2.0 is not just focused on cannabis infrastructure. The world is changing. Agriculture needs to go high tech, not just because of the lack of water, but because when you put irrigation systems, when you put control systems, your crop yields go up 5 to 10-fold, right? Greenhouses, irrigation systems, you see dramatic increases in these crop productions. All of our clients see this and are going in that direction. So Colombia is the largest producer of flowers on the planet. We now sell to the two of the top 5 largest producers in the country are now our clients. We've done some medium-sized projects with them. We've got some larger projects coming, but we're branching out to more than that. Again, another tweet that's coming in big news. We closed a deal for $300,000 in revenue. We're going to be doing 100 acres. It's 200 hectares, which is a ton. What is that? 227 acres, I believe. It's humongous. 240 acres of coconut groves. And we're going to be managing the irrigation platform, delivering that. It's hundreds of miles of pipes and control systems. And so that project is locked down and it's coming down the pike. And that's 300,000 plus maintenance, plus additional engineering that we're doing. We're doing all the engineering for this project. So huge projects coming down the pike. We see a lot more of these. One of our primary vendors with Echo 2.0, we are becoming so much closer to them. They decided to pull out of the mid-sized market in this region and just hand it all over to us. So instead of them dealing with mid-sized producers, we are getting all of those customers. We're getting them at our full margin, and we are going to start something a little bit crazy. But again, because this is an Israeli company, because they've got a global presence, because they focus on the larger clients, they don't take care of the smaller and the medium-sized clients. Well, they're never going to do it. They understand it. And so we sat down, had talks with them. And so one of the things we're going to be doing starting first quarter, we're going to buy a large amount of inventory and give it on consignment to all the local ag stores. There's a tremendous amount of agriculture stores, and we leave the equipment on consignment, and we come by once a month and refill whatever they need. And this opens up the market for medium-sized projects. So again, we're focusing on developing Echo 2.0 as a company. We are seeing great strides on the engineering side of system controls, where we're creating injection systems for fertilizers. You can buy one of these for $180,000, or you can buy one of these for $70,000 from us. We are developing, we're implementing. These are developments that are coming out of Echo. So again, a lot of stuff to be excited about on the Echo side. Getting back to the Medcana Global, to our core, and getting back to where the global market is, I wanted to talk to you about this a little bit. Brazil opened up. Brazil's demand for cannabis from Colombia is through the roof. We're going to see customers coming out of there. We're going to see greenhouse projects going to Brazil. But right now, Australia continues to grow. There is no supply. Europe continues to grow. There is no supply. We are seeing a huge crunch in the global market on the cannabis supply. We're also seeing huge demand specifically for the Colombian cannabis. And I think I touched on it last time, but it's becoming a lot more apparent. And the more I talk to my guys and my engineers, my ag engineers, what's happening is the recognition of the complexity of the bud that we grow down here because of the sunlight. And there's a YouTube documentary on why Colombian cannabis, it's really related to the equator where we're at. It's related to the amount of photons the plant gets, and therefore the amount of terpenes it develops. And there are 23 terpenes that are detectable in Colombian cannabis that's sun grown, that's grown in greenhouses, versus typically 3 that are detected in indoor because of the wave of light, because of those lack of photons. And so the recognition, the aroma that gives out. And I know we're growing pharmaceutical, but a lot of our pharmaceutical customers and a lot of our buyers really enjoy that, and it matters to them. And so again, we're seeing a tremendous amount of demand. Whatever we can grow right now is going to be sold, is going to be exported. I've always been the sales guy. Well, I love sales. I've always been in sales. I'm a little bored because I'm not getting to do any sales. It's all bought. It's just, we have to get to producing. And again, we're on a good timeline. We're building out the greenhouses. We're working on that funding schedule. We're wrapping that up, but we're looking good. I'll address the elephant in the room. Volume is low. The stock hasn't moved a lot. Guys, I'm here to make money for my investors. I'm not here to pump the stock or to do anything. I think the stock, once you start seeing the results, once you start seeing what we're doing and that we're actually executing, and right now you're seeing some of that execution coming through, I think the stock is going to take care of its own. We're doing a lot more PR. We're going to make sure you follow us on Twitter. All of these things and all the follow-up to these updates will also be on Twitter. But I don't worry about that, just because I know we're going to get there. I sent you a last-minute tweet. I don't know if you got it, a little what's up, but it's a tweet we put out on the 7th of November. If you don't follow us, look us up. Mechanico, I believe, is a Twitter. Let me see. I'm going
to pull it up right now for you.
Yeah, so
this is on November 7th?
Mechanico, yep, November 7th. It's a little update, and we wanted to put this news out, this little chart out, so it became public. And this is where
I'm actually going to post this tweet right in the chat, so that way they can take a look.
Go. Yeah. So we hadn't put out numbers, but these are staggering, astonishing numbers that are based on very conservative market prices and very conservative yields. Okay. But if you do the math backwards and you dig into the formulas, you'll see what we're producing, what our yield is per square meter. But what we're coming out per acre per year is 4.8 million. And our plan is to build 25 of these.
Wow.
The latest pricing that we've seen on the market, again, if we get to Australia and we're direct, we're in the 3,000 range instead of the 1,500 range. So it's astonishing where we're at. It gives me goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps to go out to the farm and see where we're going and see the updates. We're a little bit worried about rain. We had 3 weeks without rain. That never happens, right? So we had a 5,000 gallon tank. We were able to pick up 2 10,000 gallon tanks. We have now water for 3 months.
Wow.
And on top,
I was going to follow up with that. If you could store
on top of the 104 inches that we get, but 3 weeks was a very long drought. We got a little worried, and so, anyways, just seeing all that growth and everything that's going on is mind blowing. But when you see the demand, when you see the market, when you see the prices, again, you look at the stock where it's at right now, go buy, because those are the numbers you're going to be seeing after we execute.
Yeah, no, honestly, and this is what's nice is that, and this is why I like doing the show, is because, every week, every 2 weeks, we have new companies on, and yours has been one that we've covered where you guys have really executed on everything you've said you're going to do. I could put you in the category of like 5 or 6 other companies over the last 2 years, that you guys are really starting to execute, and you're young in your journey, but over the last 2 or 3 months, I am completely, convinced that you guys are in this for the long haul. I think you're going to have a global footprint, and the numbers that you just gave, you're just talking about tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars in revenue eventually. And that's on the small side. And if you tap into, the mechanics of supply and demand, then you could really play to your advantage there.
Yep. And understand also, this is on the first farm that we're building, right? We're not going to stop at the first farm. We're going to continue to build as demand grows. The expansion, we want geopolitical expansion. So we do want to go. A long time ago, 2 years ago when we started, we really put our eye on Argentina. We have a really good relationship with a senator that passed the cannabis law in Argentina. He's out of Mendoza, which has Merlot, which can go into chicken wing sauce. And you see how the circle closes, right?
This is when it comes full circle on the BFC right here. This is it.
No, but again, we're being very methodical, and we're documenting and we're making sure that this is something that's going to be scalable. We're not just sticking to one farm. We're not just sticking to one location. This is something that's going to grow. And again, there's going to be a lot more news coming down. I love being on the show because it keeps us honest. Take my notes down, give you guys updates, and it's great to get on the show every few weeks and have you guys see the strides we're making. So yeah,
and you know what, and it's the truth is, right now the hard sell is cannabis stocks. Obviously, you have the biopharma, like that's always a hard sell. But the truth is the cannabis stocks aren't going to go anywhere. If you look at the CAGR of what's going to happen with cannabis, it's going to grow. Sort of like it's not going away. Crypto's not going away. AI is not going away. Those are three things I think that in the next couple of years are going to explode. I think you guys are setting yourself up and you're positioning yourself up to not just capture the Colombian market. One, you're going to capture the American market.
Yep.
Even though it's going to be very competitive here, it will be competitive for you guys. But, once we have descheduling, that's going to be huge. You're tapping into Australia. You're getting a foothold in Europe. Your hydroponics come right from the Mideast, essentially. So you're really capturing every corner of the globe that you possibly can. And so, guys, this is, by the way, my cannabis stock pick of 2025. I think you guys are going to explode. Ticker SFWJ. And I'm excited about it. So, kudos to you, man. It seems like you're knocking this shit out of the park. You really are. So
it's been fun, Eric. It's been great. And again, one of the things I'll tell you. So I've gotten a few comments. Well, we've got this new administration. They're not really focusing on the cannabis, blah, blah, blah. Well, number one is you don't want to start when it gets legalized. We'll be way too late, right? So whatever's going to happen with this administration in the U.S. is going to happen, and we're happy with it. The global demand is going to fill whatever the U.S. demand. But I mean, it is just as big or bigger because it's global, right? But the other thing about that is cannabis will eventually, the benefits of cannabis from the medical side are humongous. The studies have not been completed on everything that can be done. It will be, it will continue to grow in the U.S. and at one point it will be descheduled and will be. I told you about this. Once we are certified in all the global pharma producer, who's going to be the first to go into the U.S.? It's going to be the guys that have the pharmaceutical certifications, right? And that is one of our goals long term. But the thing about it is production costs continue to be 10 times less than in the U.S. right now. 10 times. The trimming that I'm super excited about. When I visited crops in California, the ladies that were trimming were making $2,500 a week. We're going to be paying $250 a week, and this is way more than minimum salary, and we're changing people's lives with these salaries, right? And so we're looking at 10 times less on costs, and so we can wait. We've got the rest of the world to eat up, but right now is when we want to get ready, because 4 years down the line we will have everything ready to go, flick of a switch, and we'll be in the U.S. So,
but the U.S. is like the cherry on top.
It's gonna be at this point, the U.S. is gonna be the cherry on top. Yep.
Wow.
So
dude, you just laid it on today.
Yeah.
Really.
I'll tell you the only complaint that I have, and this is gonna rattle you. In Colombia,
you don't like wings?
I can't find chicken wings that are not breaded.
I knew it was gonna be wing joke.
Hyper breaded.
Dude,
and
it's crazy. It's almost sinful to do that.
It is. And I am becoming a chicken wing. I think we found something that we both have in common. But Jesus, I cannot find non-breaded chicken wings here. Yeah.
There are a couple really good wing joints in Buffalo. We like the frequent bar bills up here. And you know what? A lot of times, I'll tell you, they're like, everybody talks about Anchor Bar and stuff. There are like 5 or 6 other places I could take you that just are really freaking good wings. You don't need to bread the wing. If you cook it right, it's crispy.
No, breading is like an excuse for not being able to make good wings.
Yeah.
You bread anything and it tastes good.
I was staying at a hotel about an hour south from Buffalo. An hour south, right where I work. I just stay overnight at the casino, at the hotel. because I had a late night and an early morning. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to crash here. We'll get some wings, right? An hour from Buffalo. You know, got the History Channel. I'm chilling out. So I'm going to order room service. Get the wings. Breaded wings. They were, and I called down there. I get this. They were Tyson chicken wings that they just heated up and fried. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. Like, dude, we're an hour from freaking Buffalo, and you're giving me Tyson breaded chicken wings. How do you get away with that? You know, I've been back since, and they got rid of those damn things. I think maybe it's because they mentioned, like, my gosh, people are coming in here from out of town, and this is what you're going to give the old Tyson job.
Hey, well, I apologize to all the investors who get off topic. It's just I'm hungry in that first segment.
Well, yeah, we messed with your brain, and you know what? I want to thank you for coming on the show, Gabe. It's always a pleasure having you on.
Always,
guys. Check out the Twitter. You want companies that are communicating and transparent and doing what they say they're going to do. These guys are doing it. Keep up the good work. I am going to keep you honest. Keep your share structure tight. Keep doing what you promise you're going to do, and keep working that debt. I mean, the eliminating of debt was great. Keep rocking, dude. Keep rocking and keep doing what you do.
Thanks, Eric. Have a good one.
You too. Now get this guy out of here.
I'm out.
Oh my, oh my. This has been a great episode. Actually, Gabe's great guy. It's great having Rich on. This is great. So there it is. Ticker SFWJ. Put that on your watch list. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. How about that? I had to. We're just flying with the dad jokes. You got Jordan over there with the what was it, the fishing and the everybody was freaking out like they've never seen clickbait before. This is not the last episode, folks. This has been the best year of the BFC. We're not stopping. We're going to continue to do firsthand due diligence. We're going to continue to get down and dirty in the trenches of the OTC and the NASDAQ and the NYSE. I'm telling you, this is good stuff. And speaking of big boards, I think we want to get into this. Guys, there's a lot of stuff we got to talk about. I want to talk about Ilus. I want to talk about CYBL. Shall we? All right. And I think I'm going to bring Jordan here in a second. I want to, let's, here, we'll get him in a second. I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to bring him in because we're going to talk Q&A. Ilus, Qind, and SAML. All right. Well, let me tell you right now. If this crushes 8 cents resistance, it's set to go kablooey. All right. This is a big deal. Let's see. Let's set the OTC on fire. All right. So I am hoping, and I'm calling all bulls. Let's set the OTC on fire. Let's wake it up. Let's wake up and get doing to what we do. And we are excited. And yes, we broke 8 resistance. Now, there are limitations to the stock, but there is a ton of room northward. And I'm going to get to that in a second because I think that this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is the rejuvenation of the Ilus conglomerate. I'm excited. And I'm not going to do the I told you so thing, but we're going there, baby. We're getting there. We're getting pretty damn close. We're getting pretty damn close. And so I want to talk a bit about the chart. You know, here we are. We broke that 8 resistance. You could see boom, getting batted down, boom, getting batted down. And this was the case for quite some time. And let's see, this is the one day, and you could see it just popped. And so we topped out at 12 on the button. And here we are. We consolidated. I would have liked to hold 10. But right now, we're above that mark, and we're in reversal. I think we're in a reversal for the stock. Looking at it overall, you know, I call this one down at 271, I think. It bottomed out at 162. And here we are. This is where I added. This is where I was talking about adding shares. And here we are. We topped out at 12 cents. I'm long into these plays because, well, I was waiting. I never bought this when it was WSFT. I never bought it when they had the name change to QIND. I always liked it at the 28 cents mark. Ironically, I was like, oh, seems like where its home is. But, you know, to see it that low, just like I was talking about DRCR, you see that thing at 3 cents when you know they have 120 something million in annual revenue. You know, profit margins aren't crazy good, but they're good. They're in the black. They ain't in the red. All right. So the beautiful thing is here, you got to take advantage of that. When you see these undervalued companies and you see the share price drop and like it did, I had to buy it. I'm like, I'm buying this. This is just common sense. This is not financial advice. I had the disclaimer on, so you do you. So yeah, this was great. I think this has a long way to run because I think that this stock is reversing. Looking out at, let's see, where it was 20 cents over here. It just had this boom, 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 just like little bouncing around, and then this is where I saw just consolidation. Boom, not going nowhere. Stagnant as hell for months, stagnant as hell. And then, all right, we've been following what was going on with the acquisition, with the reverse merger and the big board. Things got ugly. People were waiting. Thing just bottomed out. I'm like, shit, there's no more support here. Let's snag up some shares. And so right now we're looking at a very good spot where this stock is going to turn upwards, in my opinion. If you don't own Qind, I don't know. Do I think it's a good investment? I do, because I've always talked about Qind, Ilus, Saml, the Ilus conglomerate. Yes, I'm the one drinking the Kool-Aid, the Ilus Kool-Aid. I've been your number one supporter of Ilus on the social media and the YouTube. So, yes, I've taken heat for it from multiple sources, but whatever. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care. But this is a stock that I'm passionate about. It was one of my first investments. I've been doing this for about 3 years now. Learned a lot. I've learned a lot, learned from a lot of mistakes. I'm definitely a better trader now than I was 3 years ago during the pumporama of 2021, where everybody was sitting at home eating Doritos and getting handouts and learning how to trade crypto coins and OTC stocks and fueling up on the old YouTube videos. But the truth is, I asked myself this. I said, do I want to just be a bag holder for one stock? Or do I want to learn to invest better? Do I want to learn to network and ask companies questions? Do I want to learn to find the companies that are beaten up and just invest in them? And so that's where I'm at. And so it's nice to see some things coming to fruition, especially with one of my favorite stocks. But is it easy to hold these things? Sometimes it's not. But if you have that conviction, if you've done your due diligence, so for me it was an easy buy, just like it would have been an easy buy for DRCR. I never went into that. I actually until 15 cents. So I bought in at 15 cents. Still think it's a steal, undervalued. I think the conversion rate is going to be very, very nice for DRCR. So, all right, I don't want to get off topic. I want to talk a little bit about Ilus. Now, I had the chance to reach out to JP. I sent him a bunch of questions, and I'm going to bring Jordan for this. So, Jordan, get ready. We need a lecture about the tag today. Jordan's a great guy. He just likes to keep me straight. That's right. So I sent him I sent JP an email with like 26 questions, and I wanted to see what I could get at this point. And I know that, this was his response. I appreciate your questions. The primary challenge we face is that most of the questions cannot be properly addressed without disclosing information that is not yet publicly available. This places us in a difficult position, as we are unable to provide definitive answers at this juncture. We are currently in the process of finalizing the Qind transaction, and within a few days, timeline, within a few days, many of these questions will be able to be answered. And I do believe he's being honest there. I would be pleased to participate in the BFC soon. I am confident that Frederico from Fusion Fuel will also be able to attend, and Nick may be available to address Ilus and SAML inquiries in more detail. Beautiful. Looks like we're having ourselves a good old Ilus reverse merger, Qind, SAML, HTOO roundtable, and it's probably going to happen very soon. So this is going to be exciting. I am tied up with a closing and pressed for time, so I will need to respond briefly for now. See below in red. So he still took the time to answer the questions. Before we get into that, let's bring him in. Bring in Jord Hugga. Jord, welcome back to the BFC. It's been too long, man.
Yes, it has. Thanks so much for having me, E-Rock, and hello, BFC community.
Do I need to change the title to the last show before Thanksgiving now?
No, but you just make sure that all the BSC community out there knows. For the 5 people that reached out to me, you can email E-Rock at BuffaloFiresideChats@gmail.com to let him know that scaring you into your favorite financial YouTube channel is not ending, because he put a very ambiguous clickbaity title up there.
Yeah, I was having a little fun. I'm feeling the comedy. That's why I had to open up with a little eastbound and down. So, are you ready to break down these answers, man?
Oh, I couldn't be more ready to do anything.
Oh, it's good stuff. All right, so here it is. This is what I'm going to just read the question. If you want to stop me at any time, Jordan, talk. If you guys want to put anything, hey Scott, hello Scott, welcome to the BFC.
I'll stop you now. The one before that you already covered. When he says a couple of days, that's linked to the financial statements that they put out, the filings, where it says November as well. So I really do think that this is all going to transpire probably before Thanksgiving, as most things don't tend to happen on Thanksgiving week, but if not, just after it.
Yeah, it's exciting. This is exciting stuff. The value of Ilus is listed at 62 million. Qind owns 51%, which gives it a valuation of 31 million. What fair market price would you give Qind shares upon this conversion? This calculation is straightforward. My opinion is subjective, and he's right. So right now, the conversion rate we're looking at that's been passed around is 26 to 28 cents. The truth is there's a lot more room for the stock to grow. And if you're thinking, well, if I buy now, the top is going to be 28 cents. That's not necessarily true because once you buy and get converted, you need to take into account acquisitions. And I did ask a lot about that. So let's get on to the meat of this.
Yeah, for that one, E-Rock, I would just say, his answer is pretty straightforward. But I think a lot of the questions that we keep fielding in the BFC community are how equity conversions work. And so the important thing there, because most people don't realize what they can do with the market cap, is that people like Fred Z and WV Investor, and sometimes myself, will break down the math. And so when you look at it, the easiest way for the average investor to look at that is if your shares are worth less than 26 cents, you're sitting in pretty good position, because between 26 and I think 31 cents is the fair valuation based on those metrics.
Boom. Is there another acquisition in the works for Qind upon uplist? If so, what kind of value will that bring in? The strategy regarding our mergers and acquisitions remains unchanged. I'm going to pivot back to an episode over the summer with them. They mentioned they have an acquisition lined up for Qind and for ticker Saml. Fusion Fuel has successfully acquired our company to foster the growth of both Qind and subsequently Fusion Fuel. We are united in our commitment to the aggressive growth of both Qind and the hydrogen subsidiary within Fusion Fuel. So I think the answer is yes. Now, you could take that for whatever it's worth. I'm sharing my opinion. I say that it is a resounding yes, because if you connect the dots up for past interviews and other PRs, that was the answer. After closing, how long will it take for Qind and HTOO to become one? HTOO has acquired the majority stake.
I have to stop you again here.
Yep. Oh, you're getting excited.
Well, you're just lying fast. Can you go to the one before, Rob?
I got it. Oh, I got it.
There we go.
I'm on the Canva.
There you go. So, and this is completely speculative on my part. I've actually been discussing this theory with different people.
I know what you're going to say. I like
it. But I also found information that I think actually reaffirms my theory and the filings that were issued with the 10Q for Qind. And essentially what that is based on a video PR that JP put out. I'm not even sure now, but at least 5 or 6 months ago. That he was basically talking about the difficulties of acquiring companies into an OTC company because of the legal ramifications or bulwarks that would prevent them, because they would go back and say, well, we need this one form or piece of paper from a company from 7 years ago that's not even real anymore. And so if you read the filings for the 10Q for the Qind that they just issued, it basically kind of speaks to the fact that the deal fell through specifically for that reason, because QI was not able to put up some paperwork. Now, I know it's a big jump from all of that to possibly QI being in play once Qind uplists and merges into HTOO. But I really like the idea of it, because we haven't heard anything bad about the company. It really just seemed to be much easier to do it in this particular way than it was for the original way, which was to try to acquire QI into Qind.
Yeah, I love the theory. Like I just responded, love the theory. After closing, how long will it take for Qind and HTOO to become one? HTOO has acquired the majority stake in Qind. So upon closing, which is only an administrative process and will take place soon, as per Fusion's own PR, they can consolidate Qind and work with Qind to raise capital and expand the joint business. I feel like I should be doing this in a British accent.
Imminently.
Eric, don't ask such stupid questions. He's great. So this was there were a couple questions in here. Actually, WV Investor he sent me a Word document of a bunch of questions. So he had this PR reference. But furthermore, both Ilus subsidiaries are expecting to close significant additional acquisitions following their respective uplists. You could see it right there. Can you, and he asked, can you expand on the deals that have been negotiated, such as number of deals in line with size, revenue, employees, footprint, stages, or of negotiations? Regrettably, I cannot disclose such details until further information is made publicly available. Okay. All prospective acquisitions currently under considerations will significantly bolster the strength and scale of the subsidiaries. So this is, I mean, and you could use the Quality International one. The truth is that was a lot of employees, man. A lot of employees, a lot of revenue. It was not a small operation. It was a freaking $100+ million operation, and then some. So I like what I see there. And like I said, I'm going to ask a lot of these questions when I have these guys on live. Can you explain the process and reasoning, although clear to many, why Ilus agreed to had to swap a majority stake in Qind for HGOO? It is our considered opinion that this represents the most advantageous strategy for raising capital to facilitate the growth of Qind. Ultimately, this approach aims to position Qind alongside with other subsidiaries of Ilus, SML, on a prominent exchange, thereby enabling international scalable business operations. So, clear indicator there. Tons of questions here. How confident is the management team that HGOO will be able to hold it together and retain full listing regulations and standards? And I had to ask this: is this deal contingent on that? With the acquisition of Qind, Fusion Fuel adheres to the standards pertaining to shareholder equity. I neither control nor can I comment on the share price. Our primary concern is not the maintenance of our listing. Rather, it is the aggressive growth of our operating businesses, which has been hindered by an exchange that fails to support or reward such growth. And I think we could definitely say that's definitely the case, especially in this time in regards to volume. I could sense his frustration answering that question. And how many times have you seen, great numbers come in for a company, debt be cleaned up, companies doing everything that they say they are, and the share price just gets hammered and hammered and hammered. And not to mention all the rings that people have to go through, the hoops people have to jump through, for just to keep their stock current. It's just crazy. So definitely could sense his frustration there. Has the management team been approached by any investment bank so far? Yes, several. That's great. That's great news. Okay, and this is talking about SAML. So I moved on to SAML. If there's anything, Jordan, you'd like to share on this is sort of funny. Yeah, it does sometimes. I think it's great for trading. But when you have to deal with these issues as a company, sometimes it's a nightmare. I could tell you that right now. The stories I hear are just horrible.
I'll throw that one there. I forgot Rafit. I can't see his name, but I think the thing that Rafit. One of the things that's so difficult that constantly gets overlooked, and it's the most important thing to trading, and I would argue even more important in trading in the OTC, is to have a plan. Everybody discusses having a plan, but they never seem to actually have a plan. And as soon as the share price goes up or down, they don't know what to do. And so they end up having analysis paralysis, and they just kind of sit back and they don't make the correct move. And then everything with 2020 hindsight and retrospect just appears to have been a mistake. I specifically remember talking to you 3 years ago about buying into Ilus, Qind. I don't think Saml or those were even on the board yet, but Ilus, because what I wanted to do going into a recessionary period was to make sure that I was buying companies that were undervalued and not overvalued. It has been a long, hard road. A lot of the volume that's traditionally in the OTC is left with these bear markets. It doesn't help with crypto on a tear that everybody's kind of putting their money there too. And there's even talk right now, that people are scared that the OTC will never have the volume return. We are in a bear market. When the money starts to return to the OTC, and we're already seeing some beginnings of that it's just going to come back. And I would argue that the majority of the money is going to go to the biggest and best plays. Well, if having one of your subsidiaries go from the OTC up to NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange doesn't get us in front of more people, then really I don't know what more you could want. But I think the most important thing is to have a plan. In these difficult bear markets, this is to me the buy and hold strategy, but only if you have the ability to do it until the next bull cycle.
Right on. I think that's a very good explanation. It's a very rational explanation. By the way, I want to announce some winners. Rodney Schumann, Chris Prentice, Bruce Schultz, Major Gains. You guys have a bottle of hot sauce coming. Just want to say. So, congratulations. You're going to try some of RJ's Buffalo Gourmet Wing Sauce. Good stuff. So I'll get your information from you, and I'll make sure that you get that. You'll get that soon. Oh, and by the way, OTC soon, because I got to pick it up, and then I got to send it out to you. So just
imminently?
Imminently soon. We have seen a major pullback with only 6 weeks. Oh, I typo. Left in the year. Can't win them all. Will we see an uplist in 2024? We cannot give. I knew they couldn't answer that question, but we cannot give a forecast or provide information that is not yet public. We are working behind the scenes as fast as we can. OTC fast. Is there an acquisition still on the table valued at more than $50 million? And he talked about this on the show. A number, right, Jordan? Are you seeing what I'm seeing here? A number of acquisitions, and this is in regards to SAML. Think about it. A number of acquisitions can be finalized rather swiftly. Is there an update on the British manufacturer of autonomous vehicles acquisition? As per the above. So something tells me that is still on the table. Something tells me that one of these acquisitions is still or is valued at more than 50 million. And so when we talk about how are they going to uplist SAML, and if the conversion rate is going to be as nice as Qind's, I think it is. Not to mention, once they uplist, that's where the real value is going to kick in. And I think that's when they're going to start announcing these acquisitions, is after they uplist and they're able to. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? When do you think they're going to start announcing these things?
I mean, honestly, my instincts told me that DRCR was going to be the first one because of the last minute pivot with Qind. But again, their business acumen is of such a high caliber that, they're not going into these things without contingency plans on their contingency plans. I mean, they already have multiple subsidiaries in a conglomerate that need vehicles to move up to larger exchanges. So it's already implied that they should have had at least 2 on the table for SAML and Qind. I'm very curious to know if HTOO was originally slated for SAML and then they just moved it, or if it was just another one of the acquisitions that they had. But now, based on how quick this has gone, and from my own interpretation of the breadcrumbs, as they're not announcing the ASM early next year without having news to talk about. So that implies that we would be done by early next year. And the PRs on filings that basically said November, but I mean, I would argue even early December, we would be happy with that. Once Qind uplists and merges with HTOO, that's going to allow them to do numerous things, not least of which is going to have better financing and cheaper financing. It also allows them to borrow money and lend it to whoever else they want through an intercompany loan. And so one of the benefits might be using, as it's not a perfect example, but using good Qind's good credit to buy a car for Saml, right? And then just by buying and selling shares in between the two companies or loaning money and paying it back with like a very reasonable interest rate, you're still keeping your fiduciary responsibilities to each separate entity, but ultimately helping all of them succeed. And since they're all connected under a conglomerate, that's probably what they're going to do.
Oh man, I could say so many things right now, and I know you could too, but we take the high road here at the BFC. Good stuff. I mean, let me know, guys, in the comment section. I don't know how many people are watching right now. I'm looking at the count. We have a lot of people watching. What is your listen? This isn't just about Jordan and me just talking here. We want to know what you think. The more active our subscribers are, the more, share your comments, share your thoughts, bearish, bullish, your excitement. We celebrate together, and this is a very, very exciting week. Very exciting week for us. Gotta say.
One of the hardest things, E-Rock, I mean, because anytime there's money involved, there's obviously a lot of emotion and potentially pain. But I think it really speaks to individuals' hubris and selfishness to project their own losses on other people without even asking questions like, what's your average? What was your plan? Somebody who's day trading doesn't have the same goals as somebody who's a long-term investor. And as somebody who paid as much as 44 cents for a single share of Ilus, I always knew that I was just going to keep dollar cost averaging into it until the business model changed. I did not expect it to take over 2 years. I did not expect for it to retrace, let's say 90+%, 95+%. But because they kept making, forward progress, albeit too slow for some people, is that I just kept buying more and averaging down. And now that it looks like we're right on the cusp of hearing multiple good pieces of news that's going to add shareholder value and allow them to grow into the conglomerate that they wanted to become, it makes me feel really good. But there's a point that I feel sad for the people that didn't last as long as we did on this journey, because, nobody wants them to lose money. But that's the beauty of your Discord, is that it allows people to go in there and to see opposing, viewpoints and to see what people are saying. And it becomes a repository so that as soon as a filing drops, all you have to do is check the Discord, because there's 30 people in there that are constantly fighting to post it first. And it makes it a lot easier to stay up to date with the most current information.
Yeah, no, it's true. And by the way, I think we're getting a new bot for the Discord. We are. It's going to be
Anthony the Video 2.0.
We have Anthony the Video and Jazz in LA. They post shit faster than the bot does. I mean, a PR goes out, boom, they're on it. And so I think we're due for I hope me 6 can't hear what I'm saying right now, but we're booting me 6. I think we're gonna do a beta test on a bot actually that Lisa Matthews brought to the table that was done by Stock Hacker. So I'm gonna explore that next week. So if you haven't join the Discord, it's a great community. And then you'll have to deal with me on a daily basis. And Anthony DeVideo always greets everybody in the morning. Cool, great guy. I know he's been working all day, that kid. But, let's keep going here. When should we expect to hear news on this? He says deals will be announced upon completion, as requested by shareholders, and similar to our approach with Fusion Fuel. Has the valuation, I had to ask this one, I wanted to get numbers. I really did. Has the valuation analysis been completed on Saml? If so, can you share, and does this include the potential acquisition? I cannot share this information right now. I'll do a better job. Eric, I cannot share this information right now. I didn't do it.
Particular set of skills. That skill is giving a valuation to Saml.
Oh, man. Saml now holds the original core Ilus businesses. And I know people were freaking out about this and worried. The North American market likes to see revenue growth, assets and profit building constantly or consistently. Hey, constantly would be great. Quarter on quarter, year over year. What is the catalyst? To ignite major product revenue growth? The businesses have been unable to raise capital and grow. Our strategy concerning both existing operating businesses and mergers and acquisition should drive significant growth in North America. Now, what's cool is this, and I'm not bad-mouthing Brett Rosen at all, but, when everybody talks about toxic lending and the Brett Rosen notes, this, that, and the other, they want to get away from OTC lenders. They want to get to the big board. They want to have institutional investors come on. They want to play with the big dogs, and this is what they're going to do, and they are confident that they're going to see this growth once they tap into that funding. I think they're going to tap into that funding. That's why they're going through this whole process. And in the process of doing so, and I'm not saying your average is your average. The truth is, you're buying it no matter where it is. I bought it at 10 cents. If I have conviction in it, I'm going to buy it when it's beaten to hell. I'm not going to be like, oh, wait, I hope it goes up to my average of 25 cents. No, it's a sub penny. If you really believe in the company, then load the shit out of it. I mean, what I text you earlier, Joe, I'm like, yeah, I need more Ilus. That's like, I know some people will be like, man, that guy's an idiot. He wants more Ilus. Yeah, I do.
And I do. What do I always say back? Because I've never asked you how many shares you have. I say, what percentage of the company do you own?
Well, yeah, and it's funny. I go, and I was talking to him. I go, do you think I own enough Ilus? And he goes, you never own enough. that was a funny response one day he gave me that. But no, it's exciting.
Yeah, but one of the things, when they're talking about this,
and I'm not
again,
saying they'll go buy Ilus. I'm just saying that we like have these fun conversations. That's why George's a great friend.
No, it's what I do. I don't. It's not what everybody else has to do, because it's not necessarily what makes sense for them, their plan, their situation, their finances, their marital status, how many kids they have. There's just a million other things that you have to think about before you ever start investing. But one of the keys to this particular slide you have up is, most people, I mean, and most actual business advocates always say, don't ever invest in a company you don't understand. Right? If you don't know what they do, you really shouldn't have any part of it. The more complicated it is, the less likely it is you're going to make money in it. Well, a lot of the issues that Ilus is having is basically summarized right there by JP. Their business model is sound. What is not is their liquidity. And as soon as they have more money, then they can start growing these things that they've acquired and start making more money with them. And I think that's really important. The second part of that is that some people don't feel like this was happening fast enough, even though they've been very honest about not having the money to grow these businesses. And the reason for that is because they don't have the visibility to see these things. None of this is marketed to the public unless you go to a firefighting convention or a show or work for Valforest or one of these major entities. You're not going to see this stuff. And so that's where FUD lives, and that's where fear crops up, and that's where people go, oh my God, am I being taken? It's been 2 years. We haven't done this. We haven't done that. And I would just argue that whenever you're looking or analyzing any of these stocks, you want to look at the minutia. Is the company's officers taking huge salaries? There's a big difference between making an acquisition of company and it falls through and an outright lie. You always want to look at the reputations of both entities in any deal, because there's people bad mouthing HTOO online, and yet HTOO has already looked at the books of our company and we've looked at their books and we've decided to do a deal. I would argue that those two entities, who have their own responsibilities and legal ramifications, are much more likely to be telling the truth and trying to do the right thing than somebody who's posting on an online board anonymously.
Yep, I agree. Could you expand about the product development that were referred to in the ERT notes? Some aspects are underway, while others are on hold as capital is raised. I can provide more details when there is more time during a podcast or interview. Currently, I'm occupied with a closing and trying to get some answers back to you promptly. He was great about doing this. I texted him. Here it was like 4 a.m, but I'm like, oh, JP's up because, the time zone difference. So I actually got to him early, which is good. Earlier than usual. What products are being developed, and are there any patent applications? The new E-Raptor vehicle. Okay, so E-Raptor's still in play. The new E-Raptor vehicle and the new merged Firebug GFR BHP manufacturing facility is in progress, which unlocks a great deal in terms of products. I will share more details as soon as possible. So it looks like E-Raptor is still a thing. There's still a go. There it is. So an answer without an answer. It's great. In regards to products, I meant an answer without a question. That's what I meant to say. In regards to products, where are the products being sold and how are they being marketed? The same products as previously stated and advertised on the respective business websites. Do you have a marketing and IR plan? I had to ask this one. Do you have a marketing and IR plan ready to be executed upon uplist? We aim to expedite the current plan, a significant portion of which has yet to be implemented due to aforementioned reasons. Okay, good. That's good. We want more communication. Is there a valuation assessment underway for Ilus upon uplist of its subsidiaries? Ilus is on a different but very exciting path, in my humble opinion. Ilus is on a different but very exciting path, in my humble opinion. I mean, we could ponder on that one all day.
Outside of the box thinking, trust the process. Rome wasn't built in a day.
I'll let it ride. Hey, they're getting QIND done. SML is going to be next. We saw what their biggest investment DRCR is doing. Do what you got to do. While Ilus appears to be the dilution machine in this conglomerate building process, do you have a plan to clean up the share structure, address convertibles, and MIGA make Ilus great again? If so, does it include buyback or share retirements or even a renegotiation of your debt? All MIGA options are being considered. Yes, we have a strategy. It's taken more time, but the team continues to work on it. So they are going to address those things. That's an exciting thing. So
when the officers of the company that you're invested in are the single largest shareholders, as they tend to be, and they either take very low salaries or forgo salaries, you always want to bet with their greed and align yourself with what they're doing. They're not going to short or reverse split or hurt the share equity of Ilus because it hurts them more than it hurts us.
Yep. And, it's nice to see them. And I know we're going to look, I know the argument is, well, the preferred convertibles and yada, yada, yada. I don't think they're going to further dilute the company. Like somebody has said about DRCR, like James Gibbon he's going to convert all the shares. And, you're not going to uplist to the NASDAQ. You're not going to convert billions of shares, especially when you negotiate those share exchange agreements. You don't get billions of shares. It's a controlling block of shares.
Well, again, and the thing is, the proof is in the pudding. Even though the actual deal did not go through with QIND, anybody who was paying attention watched them remove 16 million shares, like just out of nowhere when they were doing it. And so it stands to reason that the equity conversion is the most important part. So it's really how much the two entities decide that the company that's rolling in is worth, because that's really what you're going to end up getting. So it's more about negotiation than how many shares are outstanding, because I would take an equity conversion into a company that's going to survive and grow for multiple years in the future than just getting stomped out with nothing. And those are the two options. Either they succeed and they keep moving up, or they don't and they would have to dilute into nothingness. So really happy to see them get this done. And if they close QIND in November, early December, and get SAML done in a couple of months, I think that that's going to leverage their position. Is that, let's say QIND has a valuation of 30 million and Saml has a valuation of 30 million, that's instantly going to give Ilus that full valuation per the GAAP standards. And in addition to that, they would get 20% of whatever the 30-day weighted average of DRCR is on their 10Qs and 10Ks.
All right, a couple questions. I'm going to keep this thing moving here. Man, we've been going at it a long time. Troy says, why is HTO way down from its 52-week high of $4.65? I don't know. Why does the share price go down for DRCR when they announced $128 million in revenue? You can't, nobody knows. They're selling. That's why. I mean, there's always different factors and, sentiment. Right now, I don't focus on the past. I'm looking towards the future. I'm going to ask.
I would just reframe that, because again, we're very hyper focused on our companies, but nobody until a couple of days ago, with the exception of Miracle Investor, was looking at HTOO. So if you were an HTOO, shareholder, they just did a 48-for-1 reverse split, and then you're seeing it tank. It doesn't make sense for you not to sell it.
Exactly. So, Brian, I'm going to ask a stupid question. If Ilus did a reverse split, would that help him with liquidity? I don't know. It wouldn't. I don't think so. And the reason why is because a lot of these, if you want to say you do a reverse split, you end up with like a 10-cent share price. Right now, where we're at in the game of the OTC, the share prices, these low floaters are not getting a lot of volume. I mean, obviously, with the exception of DRCR and QIND and maybe a couple others, the majority of them aren't. Do I think it would be advantageous for them to do it? I don't think it would be. I think I want to let them figure out the process on their own. Let's not talk reverse split yet. They've said that they wouldn't do it. But they're, I look at these share exchange agreements like reverse splits. And you're going to end up with less shares of QIND. But the difference between that and a reverse split is it's not going to be the same value. Your value is going to increase. So it's like a reverse split, except you're not getting the same amount. You're getting a different amount of shares, but you're getting a different share price, and you're getting an increase in what your shares are worth. So it really is beautiful. And I think that they knocked this one out of the park. Well, we're not there yet, but go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, just one thing for Brian. So reverse split's not going to help with liquidity because it's just going to be totally based on the volume. However, with some entities that like are really popular, successful, I think Palantir just did one, that you will sometimes see a forward split where there's so many people buying and holding their shares that it's almost like you have this huge institutional investor that's holding 80 or 85% of your shares. So then they'll do a forward split that could actually help with liquidity, but it's really just a question of volume.
Yep. And when you look at percentages, we were talking about percentages earlier, it's all the same. It's all fraction. It's all the same. But it's like, what is more attractive to the investor? Well, in the OTC right now, you know, having a 6-cent share price and having a really tight share structure and no dilution and no debt, that's really not attractive. People love the risk. People really want those 000 stocks. They want those 00 stocks. They like those penny runners. But the truth is, everything works in cycles. And I think investors are going to come back for those low floaters, to be honest with you. And those we'll see, like talk about like NUMD, Triple DX, like MVCO, like all those ones. I think they're eventually going to see their day. Everything works in cycles, I believe, but you know, we'll see what happens. Will we see regular communications from the team? And is the next era kicking off with this recent announcement? I anticipate that the current progress, which is the culmination of years of effort, will facilitate the closure of additional deals in a timely manner, consequently leading to an increase in announcements. Good. Volume on the OTC, here it is, has been horrid. Have you taken this into consideration regarding announcements over the past 12 months? And my thought process while thinking about this is like, they know volume's down. They know, and it wasn't just their stock that pulled back. You could overlap their chart with dozens and dozens of other companies, other stocks. And guess what? They almost look identical. Just the slow bleeding over the last 12 to 18 months. His response: we are developing our businesses and will communicate accordingly. Various market factors, including volume, have restricted our ability to finalize deals and expand. However, we accept this challenge and continue to move forward. What kind of funding will these uplifts bring to the Ilus conglomerate? We believe it's significant enough that we have invested considerable time in it, and for good reason. You know, that's him saying, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think this would be beneficial for us or if it wouldn't be successful. Will there be a shareholder conference call or meeting in the near future? There will be an Ilus shareholder meeting early next year.
I will see you all there.
Yes.
I'm bringing some booze.
Yeah. In the chat, are you going to get your ass to the shareholder meeting next year? And I know it's contingent on how things go, but do you plan on going? If things go really well, do you plan on going?
I'm going either way.
Can the Ilus team put together an updated 2025 roadmap progress chart for shareholders? Yes. This will be unveiled early in the new year during the shareholder meeting when much will be clear. So after it's all said and done, after these uplifts happen, we are going to get a roadmap. All right. So that's great news. I love the roadmap. I love when companies put those out. And lastly, any final thoughts for the BFC community? We truly appreciate the loyal support from everyone this applies to. A special thanks to you and your team, Eric. I apologize for being a bit pressed for time and overly concise today, but I really look forward to chatting in more detail on your show soon. And let me tell you something right there. He spent more time being pressed for time responding to this email than most companies would if they had the time to respond to it. And that's a great character. I mean, dedication, transparency. He didn't have to do that. He was busy. I talked to him yesterday too. I'm like, I want to get him on the show. But the fact that he still took time to answer these 26, 27 questions, whatever it is, that was pretty damn awesome of him. So cheers to you, JP, and the whole Ilus team for getting it done. And keep grinding. We're not there yet, but we're getting pretty damn close. Your thoughts on it, Jordan?
Yeah, and just congratulations to JP, Nick, the entire Ilus team, HTOO. Really it takes a village. There's so much that goes into these things, and there's so much complexity that it can feel very daunting. And so we're very happy and proud to be part of such a successful team. And then I would thank you, specifically Rock and Rob, Rickers, Bella, Mr. Bill, Fred Z, WV Investor. I'm sure I'm forgetting 50 other people, Arlex. There's so many people that have just kept their head up and stayed positive through all this. And it's not easy, you know. I mean, when you're down 50, 60, 70%, you know, when you're not hearing news from companies either because they can't or there isn't any, you know, it's very difficult. And so I think that one of the great things that came out of this journey for so many newer investors, like you said, you know, post 2021, is that hopefully they've learned the importance of joining groups and sharing information, and, you know, trying to stay level-headed, because emotionality is the death nail or death knell to traders. You have to be detached. You have to consider that money to already be gone, and you have to have a plan. You know, dollar cost averaging into nothing in a bad stock isn't going to fix anything. You know, I just really truly believed that in their vision, and now that their vision's coming into clearer focus for everybody else, I really look forward to celebrating with all of you.
Right on, right on. You know, I agree with what you said, and you know, great sentiment there. And it's never easy, but you just keep on keeping on. You go with your conviction, and it's, you know, that's where I'm at. And so, guys, now I did say I would go over CYBL, and I'm going to hold true to my word, even though this show's been going on an hour and 45 minutes. But that's the grind. That's what we do. So if it's all right with you, Jordan, I'm just going to have you stick on if that's all right for CYBL. I just want to get through an update and sort of just run down a couple things, if that's all right.
Just happy to be part of the team, buddy.
All right. And by the way, guys, let's get to CYBL. So all my CYBL peeps out there, I know we're sort of freaking out a little bit, and you know, especially with the share price. Let's talk about it. CYBL. Okay, now look, this is a brand new chart because, one, it's not the same market. Two, it went CE, and so I did have this marked. I had this marked right here. That's where the support was before, and that's where I had it marked a couple of years ago. And I really thought it was going to consolidate and just continue with that grind. And unfortunately, you know, it's not going in the direction that we want. All right. Clearly, it's not going the direction that we want. And by the way, this is not a bearish segment on CYBL because I'm very excited about it, especially after that PR. So, like, looking back here, this was my mark. It was off by like a tinge, just a little bit. But there we were, and I thought that maybe we would consolidate it. Shame on me, because I have to think, hey, this is a different time. And so where's it going to be? Where's the support? Is the support down at, like, it's not, because this isn't full trading. This wasn't full volume. This was Canada and people with speed trader. All right, so this doesn't even apply right here. If there was any consolidation point, if I had to put it somewhere, where am I going to put it? I'm going to put it, so I'm going to go back for a second. I'll probably put it in the 4s or the 5s. All right. It consolidated dub 4. But then again, that was without that volume of that American retailer. Canada, it was Canada and Speed Trader. And so do I think we could consolidate at 5s? I think we could bounce hard on 5s. I'm not selling anything now, especially with the PR that they had. You know, so we're going to let this chart run its course. We're going to let it consolidate, and we're going to look for the next leg up. All right. So let's dive into CYBL and their impressive progress. First, the big news. The CE is gone, meaning normal shareholder communications can resume. This is a significant milestone that sets the stage for even greater transparency moving forward. So we expect to see more of this. Like, look at this. This is a meaty PR. This is what I expect from a company. This is exciting stuff here. All right. Now, let's talk about the numbers. All right. We'll get to the plane in a second. We'll get to the F-16 in a second. All right. Cyberlux isn't just showing growth. They're breaking records. Quarter 3, 2024 revenue hit $5.3 million, a staggering 1,200% increase from last year's $419,000. Year-to-date revenue stands at $63.1 million, a massive leap from $568,000 in 2023, largely thanks to a $54 million DoD contract. Even more impressive is the $39.5 million swing from a $17.8 million loss in 2023 to a $21.7 million profit this year, with a quarter 3 gross margin of 67.3% and a strong balance sheet, 56 million in assets and 9.9 million in equity. They're managing growth efficiently. That's just the truth. Let's go back to the plane. You know, the strategy centers on long-term stability. He's carrying multi-year contracts like the recent $22.7 million deal for the F-16. All right. That's a game changer. You know, working with the likes of Lockheed Martin. I'm not saying they're Lockheed Martin. I'm just saying this is a big deal. This is a big ass deal. These contracts provide predictable cash flows that allow the company to reinvest in research and development or scale operations and plan for sustained growth without worrying about short-term volatility. All right. And speaking of research and development, Cyberlux is building a robust portfolio of intellectual property that will set them apart from in the defense space. That's just the truth. Their X-series drones featuring AI and ML-driven autonomy, electronic warfare resilience, and extended range demonstrate their innovation. These advancements can lead to patents, proprietary technologies, and partnerships with major defense players. And there's a lot of good ones out there. And I have a feeling they're really going to expand there. You know, they're going to find their positioning in their market. And it's going great. Doesn't show it in the share price. But let's talk about their market expansion strategy. We're talking about global integration services or systems. Sorry. Services. My gosh. I better get it straight. Will West is going to correct me. He goes, that's a big freaking deal. 23 million deal as a prime contractor supplying to Canada. Yeah, damn right. Unbelievable. Cyberlux is brokering U.S.-approved military assets and working with allied governments. This is positioning them as a key player in the global defense market. They're also targeting emerging sectors like border security and resilient communications, with their Datron military communication systems gaining traction worldwide. This could lead to a multi-country contracts as governments prioritize reliable, adaptable solutions for high-threat environments. Datron is huge. They've done almost $1 billion. I got to scream this from the rooftops. I'm not panicking on this. The DD sold me before, and now that we're in full swing and tradable, and they're dropping this stuff, dropping these bombs, unbelievable. Stephanie, I'll get the AHRO in a second. I didn't plan on it, but for you, I will. Stick around to the end. But another thing I want to talk about, and I know because it's been a long day, but we've had a kick-ass show, and I'll tell you, I'm not backing down on CYBL. This is a hill I'll die on than this one. Just like Ilus.
Not for nothing, Iraq, but you never did, and that's one of the reasons I like being in the BFC, because you don't just give up because things are difficult or you don't understand what's going on. You went into CE and you were one of the, if not the only person still covering it, and now everybody jumps back in the bandwagon, but you have to really do deep due diligence to try to figure out what's going on. And every one of their filings kept showing more and more money. We just didn't know why the CE was on, knowing that eventually it would have to come off. And then we all were buying it through Speed Trader. And now seemingly, of course, we could have been wrong, but we were not.
No, we weren't wrong. And, you just got to, and trust me, was it easy? No, there were times I'm like, oh man, trust me, people were reaching out to me every day. And I knew I had a responsibility to those people. And that's me personally. If I covered it on the show, especially a stock as big as this, people had a lot of money in it. I had a lot of money. I have a lot of money in it. And it's like people reach out to you for support after, 6 months of CE, 5, 7 months, 8 months, going on a year. And when somebody wants to talk to you, you answer them. When somebody wants to say, hey, what do you think's going on? That's the time to reach out communication. And I will always be that way. Just because I know we're all in this together. I do believe it when I say there's more that binds us and breaks us. No, trading's not a team sport. We're not all buying and entering and exiting at the same point. That's not the point. The point is that we share information, we be transparent with one another, and we respect each other. And that's what sets us apart. And I love it. And I appreciate your comments, Jordan. And so, I want to talk about the Bill Matarini factor. This guy, hey, University of Rochester, right down the road. Maybe he has some RJ's wing sauce. Who knows? But let's talk about Bill Matarini. I think he's critical to the success and growth of Cyberlux. His career showcases exceptional leadership in expanding global markets and driving revenue for organizations. His expertise spans from RF systems, military applications, UAVs, and tactical equipment. At Datron World Communication, which I think is the acquisition for Cyberlux. And I know it's an acquisition, but that's the thing. That's what they got. They got what they needed. Man. Bill's excelled in sales across Central America, Africa, Middle East, and Asia. Global, securing multi-million-dollar contracts and forging relationships with U.S. embassies, the Department of Defense, and international ministries. As Chief Revenue Officer at Cyberlux, his strategic planning, regulatory knowledge, and strong government connections position him to lead the company towards sustained growth and innovation in defense and technology markets. That's my opinion. You heard it from Iraq's lips. That's it. Like, this guy is key to the success of Cyberlux. And I think he is the reason why a lot is getting done what's getting done. I said that weirdly, but that's okay. This guy is key to the operations of Cyberlux. I'm just gonna put it at that. Yes, Lou, I will get the HRO at the end. I planned on it, but I didn't. I knew it was gonna be a long show, but so Cyberlux, all right. They're strategically positioned for sustained growth. Their multi-year contracts, strong IP pipeline, and expanding market reach make them the force to watch in the defense sector. All right? Defense below a penny with all these multi-million-dollar contracts with an acquisition that had almost $1 billion in revenue. Almost $1 billion in revenue since their startup. I think it was 2003 or whenever, about 20-something years. $1 billion. And I went over the chart on this show. I could go over that again, and I'm going to do a whole CYBL segment. I plan on it. I don't want to rush through it, but we got to talk CYBL. But they're laying the groundwork for long-term success, unmanned systems, military communications, global defense. You know, for investors, this means stability, growth potential, and the chance to be a part of something transformative. And I think the future looks pretty damn bright, even though the share price is getting kicked around. So just as I said when we were CE and sitting at dub 1, I'm going to say the same thing. I'm not backing down. Do you think I'm going to sell down here with everything that they're announcing? Hell no. Absolutely not. So it is what it is. We're going to let the chart do what it does. And that's it. In Bill, we trust. I'm not backing down on this one. So What does he say? All it takes is Brett Volokovich. Give Cyberlux another shout out as well. Bring attention to the company. He's been on many talk shows lately. Yeah, he's been out and about. 110%. And Bill, we trust. It's been a long day. This was I think this may have been our longest show. I don't know if it has been. And so John Don feeling good about CYBL. And that is a big freaking deal, like he was saying. $23 million as a prime contractor supplying to Canada. Listen, we're not messing around with this. I believe it 100%. Let me take a look here. Now, Stephanie, are you going to touch on AHRO? AHRO kind of a no-brainer. Will AHRO to be discussed? All right, now I got no slides for AHRO, but let me tell you this. All right, this stock, AHRO, is so underappreciated right now by the OTC. This thing is this should be flying. This should be a penny runner at least. I think Chris Giordano at AHRO has done everything that he said he was going to do. I think he's been absolutely stellar at communication. By the way, there is a room in the Discord, in the BFC Discord, AHRO room. He's always in there posting information, nothing insider, just communicating with shareholders. You know, we knew that, they needed that extension. He got the extension done. He got the filings done. Everything's good. They announced on the show that they're going to announce a $15 million asset to AHRO. This is huge. And he says that there's going to be multiple, as he tweeted today, trigger events. 5 trigger events. We traders call them catalysts. All right. Chris is a great guy. I can't wait to have him on. He was just on last week. But yeah, he's a character. But I can't wait to meet him down in Atlantic City in February. It's a shame we had to postpone that. But yeah. And you know what? Hey, if you want to go down to Atlantic City, if you want to meet the BFC crew down there in February, let me know. Shoot me a DM, whether it's on Twitter or email us at buffalofiresidechats@gmail.com, buffalofiresidechats@gmail.com. Send an email. Shoot me an email. Tell me hi. Seriously, if you guys want tickets, he could get you tickets into the Ring of Combat. They're going to be streaming that. But yeah, I am absolutely freaking bullish on it. We are, we started covering that one at Trip 5, and that thing topped out. I think it was dub 28. I don't know where it closed today. And I'm going to look real quick right now if I can pull up my Schwabi. Let's see. Yeah, they're logging me in. Come on. Where did we close today with AHRO? So we closed at 2-1. So right now, if this thing gets volume, if this thing gets any sort of attention, I think this one is going to erupt. I think the CEO is doing everything he said he's done. He's done everything he said he would. And since April, he's come a long way, and they're actually making a lot of progress. If you look at their financials, they were in the negative, but if you look at the 2024 compared to 2023, they're actually bringing in revenue. And so right now, he's talking about profitability this quarter. This is absolutely exciting. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about going down to meet him. So am I bullish on the AHRO? You're damn right I am. And so let's see what we have. Troy, what do you think? When do you think Cyberlux will do a stock buyback like they promised? I think like if this stock was like cruising at 1-2 cents, I don't think it would be worth doing a buyback. I think that they should put it into operations. I'd rather see them put that into marketing and getting more just networking into the DoD and getting more contracts. But they did say they were going to do that, so I think they should address it. I think that I don't know. We'll find out. You can't predict what these companies are going to do, but I'll tell you right now. I think they're gonna address it. They do have a shareholder call coming up early next year where they're going to talk about the year, and I think they're really going to lay the foundation and basically the groundwork for where they go from here. And I think they got some catalysts lined up. They're getting these. I think we're already over 12 million. Will, I don't know if you're watching or not. Am I correct when I say just in Q4 we're over 12 million? So we've already doubled. Now, and this is another thing about Cyberlux and the defense contracting. I think that when you zoom out in 10 years, you're going to see a steady increase. But on the way up, I think quarters are going to vary. I think certain quarters you're going to get maybe $50 million in government contracts. Oh, we dropped to $20 million. Oh, we got $100 million. If you look at the chart for Datron, it was very similar to that. I think right now, especially with the border issue, I will tell you that I think that they are going to be more consistent with their contracts. So that's sort of what I got there. James says, I don't see a buyback situation changed. Growth and research innovation. So I think a lot of, they're going to want to invest in themselves. They're going to want to invest in products and technology that can get patented. Say that a billion times when you're tired. Patented technology. Oh man. But yeah, so yeah, I did want to talk about CYBL. I did want to talk. Thank you for holding my feet to the coals about AHRO. And so yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, you guys are awesome. I want to say thank you to everybody that supports the BFC. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Seriously, our Wednesday lives are always fun. And I promise to always try to bring, the best guests possible. So Jord, any final questions as we sort of close things out here?
Yeah, well, give a shout out to Wiggles and Eagle, who I forgot in my first shout out. But no, I mean, it kind of reminds me of when we were talking about birthday parties and cake, right? Is as much as it's important to tamp down your emotions when they're negative, I would argue it's equally as important to not have the opposite happen when you're all excited and manic and you just think that the stock's going to go up forever, right? People leave money on the table both ways by not selling soon enough and by not, selling early enough. Mm-hmm. And so when you have these opportunities, one of the other parts of my plan that we've discussed many times is that having these different companies with the synergies between them and the conglomerate that they're trying to build is, as we broach this proof of concept with QIND and some of the 30,000 Ilus shareholders, I'm not sure what the other companies have, as they start to see this, I think that a lot of people are sitting on money and it's just going to start piling in. And so the important thing is to not sit there and buy it when it's up 20 and 30% and do this. It's always going to retrace to some level. Look at the charts, look at what it's doing. Don't overpay for things. Have a plan and follow that plan. And if they are able to merge with HTOO very soon, in days or weeks, and then they're able to do the same with SAML, I would argue that even without knowing what their plan for Ilus is to reduce the outstanding shares and to do the same merger, that my confidence level in their success goes up exponentially every time they do the exact same thing that everybody's been telling us for 3 years was impossible, and now we're right on the cusp of it. So I've just been very, very grateful and blessed, and I appreciate all the hard work that everybody's done And I really, really look forward to seeing all of you at the ASM and doing this for another 20 years.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Well, that wraps it up. And this is our record show, I think. But thank you to Rob backstage. Thank you to Jord. Thank you to my guest, Gabriel Diaz of SFWJ. Thank you to Rich Pato of Pale Lotto, I should say. See, I almost got it right. Of RJ's Gourmet Buffalo Wing Sauce. Man, good stuff. And I want to thank every single one of you guys for tuning in. What a meaty episode. We talked about some of our favorites. And we have some very exciting things to look forward to, as we wrap up Q4 and go into 2025. I hope you guys are well. And that's all we got. That is all we got. All right. So I'll finish with this and then Rob could take us out. Remember, guys, there is more that binds us than breaks us. Peace out and good night.